Hey guys, I want to do a little video just to talk about the new ban list that just came out. I wanted to give my initial impressions and kind of take it from a little more casual perspective, talk about it in terms of kind of how the decks will be made more fun or not made fun, or kind of how they affect me and how I play these decks. Not really taking it so much from like, a tournament heavy, meta heavy perspective, just because it's not really me. I just want to talk about the cards of how, I see it in my own opinions. And obviously you guys can comment and tell me what you think. So I'm going to go over the cards one by one and just talk about them and, my opinions. So first off, so we have Dragon Ravine is becoming forbidden, which is pretty crazy. I this is one thing that I'm not completely sure about. Dragon Ravine is obviously a great card for Dragon Rulers, and obviously they're aiming to take Dragon Rulers down with this list. But I think taking a card that's not even on the list and making it banned because of one specific deck type is a little crazy, especially when this card can be used by other archetypes. They're aiming to, kill Dragon Rulers, and I don't think that's completely fair. Dragon Rulers are way too strong right now, so I can understand that, but I think they could have tried maybe making it limited, just, to try that out. But I can see why they're doing it. Not sure where I stand on this one. So another one they're banning is Return from the Different Dimension. So this one I completely understand, and it's definitely the right decision. That card is way too strong. You really can't have a card that summons so much from the banish zone, especially when so many archetype these days focus on banishing cards. And the thing is, paying half your life points is not a big deal because by the time you have so many cards in your banish zone, you are not at a point where taking half your life points is a big deal. And again, this benefits archetypes so strongly. Obviously, Dragon Rulers is one of those archetypes that it happens to benefit so much. So self-destruct button is another one that is becoming banned. This one I completely agree with. I don't think there should be cards in the game that encourage you to go for the draw. I just don't think that's fair. So I like what they're doing with this. All the cards in your deck should be focused on helping you win, not helping you draw the game. So it's just a stupid card. I don't think it should exist, and I can agree with them banning it. Sixth Sense is another card that, along the same veins as Return from the Different Dimension, it's way too strong. It's way too strong because it's a card that's supposed to have, an extreme positive and an extreme negative. And if you have a deck that focuses on milling, it's two extreme positives. So way too strong of a card for those certain deck types. It just does not work. If those archetypes weren't in the game, then this card would be fine. But they are, and it makes this card broken. So those are the only cards getting banned. So now the cards that are becoming limited. So all the main Dragon Rulers are becoming limited. Again, I think they're focusing on killing Dragon Rulers, and I can understand why they want to do that, but I feel bad. Dragon Rulers aren't really going to get played very much anymore. That's how I feel, and they're going to become like tech cards that people will put in certain decks, but I feel like they're going a little overboard with this. We'll have to see, but for now, I really don't think Dragon Rulers are going to be played, and it seems like they're trying to destroy this archetype. So another card that's becoming limited is Debris Dragon, which was semi-limited. This card I don't have that much experience with, so I might need to get some help from you guys, but I personally can see why it can be a little too strong getting those crazy synchros out very easily. There's definitely some broken strategies that you can do with this card, so it becoming limited makes a bit of sense. So one card that I'm very excited about is Magician of Faith. That's been banned for a while, and I'm really liking seeing it again. I'm understanding why they did this because they were worried about certain cards that this was broken with, but on its own maybe it's not too broken. Then again, the whole idea of reusing spell cards is a bit strong. But you can only do it once, so I'm not sure. I feel like there could be some problems with this card. There's some things that can happen, so I'm excited to see where they go with this, but this is definitely one to keep an eye on. The other ones, those are just the other Dragon Rulers. So Divine Wind of Mist Valley is becoming limited. This one I really don't like. I can understand why they're doing it, but again, I don't really like it because Mist Valley is just going to get hurt a lot. And I really, I just made a Mist Valley deck. I'm enjoying it a lot, and it focuses so much on this card. Obviously, you'll be bringing it back to your hand and stuff, but it's going to be trouble once you lose it. I don't really know how the archetype's going to survive without this card, so definitely going to want to get your thoughts on what's going to happen with that card. Another card that's getting limited that I don't really agree with is Final Countdown. I just, I guess I don't really understand this. Final Countdown decks can be strong because there's so many cards that help you stall, but you're killing the deck with this card because Final Countdown decks have to get this card, and if they have to wait 30 cards to get this card, it's just not going to work. Having 3 copies of that in your deck ensures that that deck is playable. So I'm very concerned about this one, and I'm really worried about it. So another card that's getting limited is Sacred Sword of the Seven Stars. Again, it could be a big hit to Dragon Rulers. Dragon Rulers really didn't need that much of draw power because they keep reusing and recycling so much. Obviously, it's going to hit other archetypes as well. I don't know if they should have been limited. I think they should have maybe made it semi-limited or something like that. If people want to focus more on draw power, I think they should be able to. So I'm not sure if I agree with that, along with all the other hits that they're doing to Dragon Rulers. Spellbook of Fate. So a Prophecy deck is something I haven't really worked on that much. So I'm just going to give my very simple impressions from this. This card is a very strong card. I think it just does too much. Having the choice to do so many things with one magic card can be really troublesome, especially because of how easily the spellbook cards get reused and all that. So I can see why they're making this card limited. Prophecy decks are still, decently strong, and I don't think it's going to hit them too hard. I can understand why they're doing this, but obviously I'll get a little more, input and understanding on it after I work on my Prophecy deck a bit more. So now, just the 2 cards that are becoming semi-limited is Chaos Sorcerer and Lonefire Blossom. So for Chaos Sorcerer, I really like this change actually. I'm liking being able to see a little more in terms of the Chaos archetype. I, think that limiting, all their cards really kind of makes Chaos, decks not work as well, which is kind of terrible because you don't want to have these archetypes that are just going to be kind of teched into other archetypes, even though they could be fun when they're, mixed together. So I'm liking seeing this guy semi-limited. Obviously he's not too strong, but being able to banish monsters can be a little much. So, it's something you want to keep an eye on, but I'm liking that change. Along with Lonefire Blossom, I really like that change. I really want to see more plant decks. I haven't really done too much in terms of the plant archetype, and I know this card can be very strong because of how easily you can use this effect, so I can understand why it was limited. But, if plant decks get to be where they're too crazy, they can always limit this one again. But I'm going to like to see what happens with this. So now the cards that they're taking off the list, I pretty much agree with all of them. So for Archlord Christia, I think this card is such a double-edged sword that if you're going to run 3 of it, that's your own issue. I don't think it's so bad to have a card that keeps special summoning. Obviously, it locks down a lot of decks, and I can understand why people don't like that, but you should have cards that can counter special summoning. You should have cards that can counter, every single thing in the game. So there's a lot more choices for what you can do. And again, this card, keeps annoying you with how it works. So I think it's definitely, worth allowing it to be used because you're gonna screw yourself, if you run too many of it. So Mizuki and Plague Spreader Zombie, these are cards that I really like. They'll be making taken off the list because I want to see more zombie decks, and I like zombie archetypes in general. Plague Spreader is obviously very strong, but because it's only level 2, I really don't think it's that big of a deal. Obviously, there's a lot of cool things you could do with it, but because it clogs your deck, it's not really that big of a deal. Liking that people will be able to use it a bit more for a lot of different deck types. Mizuki is another card that I really like and would love to use more. I don't know how many decks are going to run 3 of them, but it'll be nice to be able to special summon zombies a bit more and allow you to just kind of keep on par with some of the other decks that do so many special summoning. I really don't think it's that big of a deal, and I'm going to like that a lot, being able to see zombie decks do a bit better. As far as TG Striker goes, I haven't really messed with the TG archetype too much, so I definitely like to get opinions from people who play that deck a bit. I really don't like that you have a searcher like that. That is semi-limited because having a searcher and not being able to use it as often kind of sucks. Then you can't really get the cards you want. So I'm definitely agreeing on that point that you'll be able to search out the cards you want a little bit more. Tour Guide from the Underworld, I'm not really sure about this one. Usually people run two so it can search out itself, teching into a deck, but running three of it is usually a choice you'll make for decks that are heavily based on fiends. So I'm a little worried about like Dark World decks. I'm not sure about this change. I'm really not. I don't know if decks like that really need a third tour guide, but we'll have to see about that one. So Constellar, Ptolemy, it was limited, but now it's 3. So I'm liking that you have access to this card a bit more often from the Constellar point of view. I like that Constellars have so many options for XYZs. So from that opinion, I can see it being very strong. 6-star XYZs are pretty strong in general, so I'm definitely liking that people have access to more 6-star XYZs that can do stuff with them. I think every level of XYZ should have some strong options. So again, I think this is really cool that they'll be able to use this. And finally, Fire Formation Tenki. So this one I'm still kind of debating in my head. I'm definitely liking it for a lot of different deck types that can help search out, make Beast Warriors a bit more strong. But I'm not really sure if it might be too strong for Fire Formations. Fire Formations are not going to have to worry as much about sending spells to the graveyard because they have so many copies that they'll be able to bring this out very often and search out even more often. So definitely want to keep an eye on Fire Fist, but for other archetypes I think this will be really good. So again, those are my initial impressions about the ban list. It's just my opinion. I'm sure you guys will have a lot of different things to say about your decks and how this will affect you, whether, this is really dumb that they made these decisions and all that. Overall, I think they did a decent job on the ban list. I think there's a lot of stuff they have to keep an eye on. The one archetype that I'm really worried about right now are Dragon Rulers. It's the one archetype that really needs to be taken a look at, and just they need to decide what they're going to do with Dragon Rulers. Are they going to keep this archetype? Are they going to destroy it? Are they going to make it a tech archetype? What are they going to do? But overall, I want to get your guys' opinions and kind of how it works for your decks. I want to see what you guys feel about this ban list, and how you feel going into the next few months. For me, I'm liking what's going on with a lot of the archetypes. Definitely looking forward to playing plants and zombies with the new changes that they're making. Definitely worried about a few of my other decks. But I think that's about it for me. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you next time.